Hello, everybody. This is a Double OG's podcast, and I have today's my guest, Yohami. Could you present yourself?
Yeah, I'm Yohami Serpa. I'm a game developer obsessed about human dynamics. And it's a hobby, but I fucking love it. I cannot stop. And I talk about it a lot.
All
That's pretty
right.
much it.
Isn't that something I checked on your profile? It was something called Game Bop.
Yeah, that's my company, GameBop.com.
Okay, and
It's
you
not
said,
about game. It's not about game. It's actually a gaming studio.
yeah. Well, you know what Bop means, right?
I'm not sure what it means. Search in the dictionary. It was something about hits in jazz. What other
Well,
meaning do you know?
there's this Bop house where you have like all the OnlyFans girls. Like I think there's Sophie Rain in it, and it's like it's kind of like a way of saying like a girl's kind of like promiscuous slash hoe and shit. So I just find it a bit amusing the fact that your company is called Game Bop, right?
I
Because
have
you
no
came on
idea.
Twitter.
Yes.
Because you came on Twitter, right? You came on Twitter, and you mostly, and as far as I know, right, you mostly talk about game, but not like game as video game type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So tell me a bit more, like what as can you tell a little bit more about your story so that the audience actually can understand, where you're coming from?
Yes, fuck. It's a really long fucking story, but the succinct is when I was growing up, I was a fucking incel omega, like those folks. They're always complaining on Twitter. Then around 25, I think, I decided to evolve, and I evolved into a beta, and I was the best fucking beta in the world. There's never been a better beta than me. But that, of course, didn't work. I mean, that kind of worked for business, loyalty rules, doing a good
Yeah.
thing, caring about other people. It kind of worked for business. It didn't work with me as the boss of the office at all because everybody was walking, you know, I was a pushover. I was too nice. Everybody was
Hmm.
walking over me, especially girls. Girls are fucking brutal.
Yeah, man, I know.
And I think it was in 2007. I was that doesn't exist anymore. It was Love Happens. Do you remember Love Happens?
Love happens.
Love Happens.
Love
See,
happens.
see, I'm too old, man, for this shit. So it was called Love Happens. It was kind of like an OK Cupid that is still around. And
Okay.
when I was there doing my fucking beta bullshit, trying to make emotional connections with the girls, I was getting tips on the side, something called Cocky Funny, that
Yeah.
for me was outrageous. It's like, use those lines, girls are gonna like it. So this shit is never gonna work. But I started copy pasting, right?
Yeah.
And the girls really liked that bullshit better than my honest human beta communication. It's like, what is happening here? So I found the person doing those tips was David D'Angelo.
Yeah. I know.
Then I started finding interviews by David D'Angelo. So I got his books, Double Your Dating. He had two books, Your Dating, something else. Through David D'Angelo interviews, when he had interviews with Tyler from Real Social Dynamics, that led me to the transformations of Real Social Dynamics, and I entered the rabbit hole. And 2008, I quit my life to become a full-time PA because I had to change myself into something else. I knew that I
Hmm.
was doing everything wrong. And since then, I'm basically obsessed.
You're obsessed.
Yeah, I'm completely fucking obsessed. I should have stopped already, but my brain just keeps going for no fucking reason. And
Wait,
now my excuse is that I want to help other guys. But in reality, my brain is always working, trying to figure shit out.
yeah, I know. Hey, look, you know what they say: be obsessed or be average.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I remember like because I know we've been following each other for a while, but like the original post where we exchanged and that led me to actually
Yes.
invite you here, right, was about the frame thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was something I you
Quality
said,
versus
right?
quantity. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but before we go on there, right, it's kind of like we had the same approach originally. We were both chameleons, right? And what I want to hear before going into the article itself, it's more about what has been your evolution, and then talking about the top guy, bottom guy, and what's the history behind this concept. Because I'm a real whore for concept now, more so than girls.
Mm-hmm.
So go on.
Yeah, with the fucking chameleon, of course. I was a POA. I was a really unsuccessful POA for like 6 months until I started getting laid. But I was also playing with a band. I was going to a lot of events in Argentina. The events were not fun. And after like 6 months, I started mixing up. Every time that I would meet a girl, I would, I was talking to everybody all fucking day because I wasn't doing anything else. I started making my own parties, And I realized that being the guy that is known for being a player was going to be better for me than starting the same process every time that I was picking up a girl. Makes sense? Because
Hmm.
you need to introduce yourself. It's always the same fucking conversation.
Yeah.
You put time, you go on dates. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Uh, that was such a long time effort that I said I'm just going to be social. I'm going to be making parties. I'm going to be the center of the group.
Hmm.
I'm going to be having kind of like the same conversations, but it's not from scratch because, it's more or less the same social group.
Yeah.
So basically, I switched being a PA to being a player. Also, I didn't have to lie. I'm very bad at remembering my own lies.
Okay, that's fair enough.
You know how they say it, right? In PA, I was doing that at the beginning. You need to be fine tuning what lines work, what lines doesn't. Right?
Okay,
So,
hated
so
that.
that's classic PA. So, at the beginning, I was a classic PA. So, what does your name mean? Everybody's gonna ask me that shit because my name is French. So, I would say one explanation to one girl, a different one to another girl, and then I will forget what I had. So, next in the next conversation, and this was with everything, right? So, what do you do? I was using the same stupid fucking lines like, I'm an underwear model, or I'm a condom tester. I'm a but then I would use the same line or a different line in a similar context with a same girl, and I was being incongruent. It's like fuck this bullshit. I'll just say the truth. Whoever
Yeah.
likes it. Whoever doesn't. And that also was more useful with the social group, right? So basically, I stopped lying. I was a very visible womanizer player, uh, which turns into a shit test because then girls are like, "Oh, you think you are such a good player? Whatever." Yes, I'm the best player, right? So passing shit tests with honesty. I stopped being a PA. I became a player, but I still had my focus was still what was running in my mind is who do I need to be to get this girl? I spent like 2 years
Hmm.
operating in that mindset. Who do you need to be this girl? For example, I really like philosophy. I'm not gonna use philosophy to pick up girls because I don't need to explain. And if they're leftists and I'm more on the right, then I'm gonna avoid politics. But if they're really into astrology and I think astrology is bullshit, I'm not gonna go into that conversation. And what I'm always paying attention is what makes girl in the interactions start glowing and shining, and when opening, softening up, lower the walls, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be different with every girl. So in that sense, I was more of a chameleon. The way that I saw that back then is if I meet a girl that let's say she's a lot into movies, she really likes movies, right?
Hmm.
When I am in the mood for movies, that's like the movie version of me. I'll go with that girl. There's
Yeah.
gonna be another girl that likes to drink a lot and have sex, but we don't have conversation. So when I'm in the mood for drinking, having sex, and not talk, is that girl. When I'm in the mood for party, there's another girl. When there's a mood for literature, there's another girl. So for every girl at the end is gonna know me as a different person. It's not that I'm actually molding, but I'm intentionally avoiding anything that can be a conflict or that could potentially be a turn off for that girl. So that made every casual relationship easy flowing, but it's not necessarily the whole truth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, basically what you're doing is you were literally, it's like you had a portfolio of girls and each of them had their use, and you're just, segmenting a part of yourself to meet
Yeah. Yeah,
that girl
correct.
and what vibe with that girl, right? Yeah, no, I get that.
Correct. But it was the point that it's chameleon is because it was intentionally goal oriented.
Yeah,
Make sense? So it's kind of like a
total.
chameleon. I'm not putting a costume, but I'm being a fragment of myself that is gonna align with whatever fragment of herself I think we're compatible on. And it was 100% based on what she would respond to. So in that way, I was still a POA.
No, totally makes sense, man. Hey, man, I've gone through the same mode, so I
Yes.
know.
At the end, I got tired. I got tired of that bullshit after like 2 years. But I
Hmm.
rank most of my barbarian phase was in those years that I got tired. Then I got a girlfriend that didn't work because I picked wrong, which it's normal to do. Then
Yeah.
when I came back, I went in a completely different direction. Is I'm gonna not do anything. If she doesn't like it, I don't give a fuck. So I went more into center with myself. This is when I started finding out about the top frame.
Hmm.
I can explain that in a little bit, but
Yeah.
what I found out is that actually the girls are already doing what I was doing. So I didn't have to do it. So what happened there when I just put the focus on myself, which is what you were talking about, quantity versus quality. If I'm, for example, I stop silencing the things that I thought could create conflict. So a girl's in astrology, I will tell her I think that's bullshit.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
If a girl's into leftist, I'm gonna rebuke her, and if she doesn't like it, I really don't give a fuck. I know that I can go and get another girl, right? I have no fucking need in myself to try to hide or mold to create the good vibes with the girl. It's not my
Yeah,
fucking problem, right? When I
I
started
agree.
being like that, I realized they were changing. Then they would bend their own opinions.
Mm.
So I would get a girl, for example, that is, oh, I mean, Trump didn't exist then, but it's a really easy example. If a girl will be like, oh, I hate Trump, Trump is the best. Who do you like, Pelosi? You want Pelosi to win the president? You want Schumer to run? What the fuck are you talking about? You like Trudeau?
Mm.
And actually, they would actually start softening the positions and bending to me. That is something that I didn't expect, right? I was
Mhm.
expecting conflict and get the fuck out of here, but that never happened. Actually, it was the opposite. So being centered in my opinions and what I actually think actually made them do the chameleon bullshit that I absolutely before, but with more grace and happiness that when it was me doing the
Thing
chameleon
is,
stuff. Yeah.
and the thing is, on the short run, being the chameleon, yeah, you get the reward, but on the long run, you don't really.
You're completely correct. You're completely correct because you get this short term, but you're paying a cost, and that cost you're paying is gonna make you unhappy really shortly
Mm-hmm.
after. Because, for example, let's say that I'm going out with that girl that is all party. It's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
but what the fuck am I gonna do with that girl 2 weekends in a row? Because then I'm gonna want to switch myself to movies, deep talks, and books. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm gonna be looking at her like, what the fuck am I doing? Right? So you ruin your own fun when you're
Yeah.
doing the comedian stuff. Yeah.
And on top of that, I mean, look, the thing is, when you're younger, you're like, okay, well, yeah, I want to have this rotation. I want to have this girl, this girl, this girl. Yeah, you're like, it takes a lot of bandwidth.
Yes.
I'm sure you don't have much bandwidth. I don't have much bandwidth. And it's like being you, right?
Yes.
Technically, right? Being you, like the alterated version of you. It basically improve, meaning reduce quantity by factor, and that's where
Yes.
the disagreement come in because by nature, quantity is an inverse function of quality in the sense
Yes.
of quality
No,
can only be. Yeah,
yeah, man, it's not a disagreement because you're
okay.
correct, but I'm also correct. But I'll say it in a way that encapsulates both of our
Yeah,
points of
yeah.
view. Quantity improves because you become more attractive, but you're gonna
Hmm.
decline the quantity because you want quality.
Sorry, repeat the second bit. So quantity gonna improve because you're
More
become
attractive.
more attractive because you're
Yes. You're not
because
bending. Yeah, you're
we
not
agree on
bending.
that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
However, you're gonna decline the quantity for quality, but it's a choice. It's not really a trade-off. Does that make sense?
No, no, no. So I'm gonna decline quantity for quality, right?
Correct.
Thing
You
is
could have you
what?
could have the quantity, but
Yeah.
because most girls find you attractive, then you can actually pick the ones that you like the most. So you go for quality.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's you. Yeah, continue.
Let me just rephrase that to make sure that I get that right. Okay. So what you're saying is decrease quantity, but actually increase the quantity of quality because you get rid of all the girls that would have not been good with you altogether. Am I right?
Yeah, but it's your choice. I still want you.
Yeah, 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 fine, fine. Okay, well, I guess it's
Yes.
just again semantics here. Again, I
Yes.
think
Yes.
so. Yeah, no, I get it. It makes total sense because at the end of the day, if you become more attractive, you increase the quality because you're segmenting yourself more as a second order effect, where that there are more girls that would be attracted to you that would have not necessarily been attracted to you before. Therefore, okay, no, but no, second order effect. Well, that's fair enough. No, that's it makes sense. Makes sense. So yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So yeah, and then came. And by the way, how long ago did you come up with the top guy and the bottom guy concept? Because I see people talking about it for a little while. I've been talking about it
I
for a
mean,
while.
I found it for myself in a party at my place.
Mhm.
I had a rotation of a few girls. All of them were more quality than quantity. So I had an emotional attachment to the girls, but I didn't want to be in a relationship. But
Mhm.
girls were going fucking insane and falling in love. And they were, fucking women, dude. They were doing kind of like Game of Thrones. trying to provoke me, trying to
Ugh.
talking to each other, controlling what I was, lying to my face, trying to make me jealous. And I was going in a lot of ups and downs, and I was trying to solve my own. I was trying to get stable somewhere. And how I came up with that is funny because I was watching an interview of Gene Simons. You know Gene Simons?
Jim
Uh,
Simons, Renaissance Technologies.
no, man, Gene Simons, the Kiss
No, the
vocalist,
which one? Repeat that. Repeat again.
the Kiss bass player.
Bass player. Oh, sorry. No, no, no. Sorry,
I'm not saying
I'm talking about the hedge fund guy, and you're talking to me
no, no,
about
no, no.
Kiss.
No,
Okay, yeah,
I'm not
no
saying
worries.
that he's an amazing example of anything, but I watched a couple of interviews and I watched a guy walking around his house and talking bullshit. And he has something that I did, and that was like a really fucking solid, calm. Of course, in case he's narcissistic, but solid, calm, commanding, no try, no effort. You could feel that in his presence, if he starts doing bullshit, he's not going to be affected and he's going to have a solution. I didn't have that shit. So I started thinking, just like I had done to that point, what is he doing that I'm not? How is he stable that I'm not? So looking within myself, I found a place where that behavior came from. And I didn't put a name. For me, that was still like a more solid alpha. So so this was 2013, 2013. I was like, in my mind, I was just trying to become kind of like a more adult alpha, kind of like a father figure alpha solid, like the king of a tribe, not the young alpha that is running around doing stupid shit, but like the chief of the tribe, alpha version. Then I think in 2016 or 17, I started talking to Nash from Days of Game.
Yeah, I know Nash from Twitter. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and talking to him, I was trying to explain, but I was still using alpha beta, and that fucking comment section nobody would understood because by then everybody had a different concept of
Yeah,
alpha and
it's
beta.
so annoying. It's so annoying because it's such a fill-in word, and I hate using that term. I really
Man,
hate it.
so many fucking hours spent talking about beta, talking about alpha, everybody understands something else. Then you have two things that are different. One is the personal attributes, and then you have the social ranking. And then people saying you cannot be alpha if you're in a job. It's like, dude, we have alpha kids since they're 3 years old, right? You don't have to be the boss or be the king of a tribe to be alpha. And I switched to talking only about the personal attributes and how I came with the terms top guy and bottom guy. I found in that chat, I found a picture of a slave carrying the master in South Africa.
Mhm.
So the master was in the top, being
Yeah,
transported, and the slave was carrying the master. So the master was the top guy, the slave was the bottom guy. So anytime that somebody was like defending better behavior, servitude, doing bullshit for the woman, trying to buy appreciation, I would come up with a picture against like, whose stuff are you being? Are you being the worker that is carrying the
yeah,
woman, or are you being in the top? That's how top guy, bottom guy came. But basically, it's frame. It's a
yeah.
fancy name for frame.
Yeah, no, no. Because also another thing, which is one of the areas where we were kind of like viewing things differently, right? Where we're talking about the plasticity of frame versus the static aspect of frame, right? Whereas,
Yes.
and technically, what you're saying is what I consider static, you consider plastic. Therefore, it's kind of. And could you just develop a bit more on this?
Yeah. So if we go too deep, we're gonna end up in some metaphysical shit that I'm exploring, but I have no answers
Okay.
because I have no fucking idea what the frame is, right? But it's like if we talk about consciousness, we're gonna find a limit really fucking quick. Because what the fuck is it, right? What are we doing? You look really close, you start losing the picture of what is happening. I can give you my intuition and how I see it working. My view is that the frames exist already somewhere. I don't know if they exist in the space or magnetism. I don't know what the fuck they are. Maybe they are written in the brains.
Hmm.
But my view is like are you familiar with Jung's archetypes?
I know about archetypes, but
Yeah.
Johnson, you said? Johnson
No,
archetype? I
Jung.
don't.
Carl Jung.
Jung, I know Carl Jung, I know about archetypes, but tell me more about what you have in mind.
Yeah, so my view is that they exist. They're like archetypes. They are eternal. They exist here before we come. I don't know how we access them. If they're in the brain or metaphysical
Hmm.
bullshit. I actually no idea yet. But we switch from one to another, and the important thing is that you feel the click when you go into an archetype.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention, you can feel the click. If I give you one example, and not only that, when you go to a frame, the frame changes how you view things, but it also changes your emotions. It changes what you want, and it changes your skill set. And it's all
Mm-hmm.
predetermined in the same way that every beta is the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Betas are going to have characteristics are all the same. They look
Yeah,
the
yeah,
woman up. They want appreciation for the act of services.
yeah.
They're afraid of getting too bold. They want to give comfort, and they feel this comfy bullshit, lovely energy that for them is real. But if they don't get the payout, they're going to get angry, which is how the beta
Yes.
frame is exposed. That is all transactional bullshit, right? You can have millions of flavors of alphas, but there are some constants, and the constants are the alpha basically thinks about what he wants and does it immediately. He's not for thinking who's going to like what I'm doing.
Yeah. He's focused on him.
Yes, and also other people have also predetermined ways of how to deal with somebody who's operating through a frame. So you know how woman's going to react to a beta, even if you don't know the woman or the guy. You know what is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, no, because it's kind of dark. Well, it goes back to what you were saying about
Yeah,
archetypes. Yeah, because
it's
it's
pre-rated. So my view is that bullshit is like a opera that I was reading, and we have the Lego pieces, and the frame has a way of viewing the world, emotional configuration, and a skill set, and also how people from the other frames is going to react to a person that frame is also pre-rated. But we are not that bullshit.
mm-hmm.
We're not that. What we do is we navigate and we choose the frame
Okay. So
voluntarily or involuntarily. We choose the frame.
okay, so technically what you're saying is we're a collection of frames and
Yes.
literally one frame go on underneath the other, etc. So the plasticity of the frame question come from the constellation of frames within side, and it's not as if you created your own frame. You already accepted a preset frame.
Yes.
Well, no, but it makes sense now. I understand a little bit more the vision, and I understand,
So we're
and I
we're
can.
plastic, right? When we're playing
Okay,
with Lego, the way that I see, we're plastic because we
okay.
choose. And you can be this percent, right? You can be
Mm-hmm.
like that guy that we were talking about recently on Twitter. This really famous old coach that is now with a 20-year-old woman from
Oh,
Instagram.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and she's humiliating him like he's a piece of shit. But that guy, in his life, when he's the coach, he's probably an amazing top frame leader of men
Yeah,
because he got
yeah.
respect. He's probably super competent. So let's say that in his day-to-day life, he's a 90% top frame alpha, whatever the fuck he is. But you cannot see that when he's in an interview. In interviews, he appears to be a really weak man. Like he has no
Mm-hmm.
personality. And with a woman, he's a complete beta. So in that sense, we're plastic because we choose where to
Mm-hmm.
operate.
Yeah, so basically, technically, what you're saying is depending upon the situation you find yourself in, you're going to display a different persona. And that's interesting because I made an article a little while back upon people's persona and they're not aware of all the personas they have. So technically, that actually tie in with what I'm saying on this, right?
Yes.
So what you're saying is that the frame that you think you have, I'm just static and not as, how do you call it, set in stone as you think it is.
It's not saying it's stunning
And
you.
no, because
Yes.
if I look at it, if we look both of our evolution, right? And
Yes.
I'm thinking, well, like you started as Chameleon, right? Then you started be like, what, fuck this, I'm just gonna be saying whatever the fuck I want, who cares, right? Whatever. Technically what you're saying is I was in Chameleon frame, now I don't give a fuck frame, and now and then maybe you made some amendments and now you're in top guy frame type of stuff, right? So for you, it was not kind of a frame that evolved itself from being, let's say, malleable to a frame that actually just technically it's kind of like a stepping stone rather
Yes.
than something
That is
that was.
that describes it better. And because of my personality, I go for simplification too. So I try to, instead of being a collection of different, I try to find one and then operate from there and see how that goes. Yeah.
No, that's interesting because then it shows and it explains a lot more why your viewpoint was your viewpoint on the article, and it makes me understand, like because we goes to the source where. For me, for example, the way I look at it is, like I'm thinking more, you start as a big, massive amount of information. You have like a lot of stuff and you kind of
Yeah.
like, and then as you grow, you get rid of some stuff, 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 and then once you kind of like got rid of all the stuff that you know ain't you, that's your frame. You see what I'm saying? You see the.
Yeah. It's I'll just disagree on. It's like kind of like technicality. When you see that it's not you, I think it's the opposite. I think everything is you, but it doesn't mean that it's permanent. It's like with water or wind or wine or gelatin,
Mm-hmm.
and the solid shape is a frame. When you have the frame, it feels like you because you are going through it. And when I was a
Mm-hmm.
beta, that was real. I
Mm-hmm.
cried. I cried when I realized that I had to become alpha because I didn't want to. I wanted to love
Yeah.
girls like they're pedestals, right? I wanted my
Yeah.
fucking Disney movie bullshit. It felt real.
All right.
When I switched to alpha and I realized how easy it was to not give a fuck and have all the girls happy, and instead of waiting 7 months to kiss a girl I could make out in the first 10 minutes, that felt really good. Basically, I didn't remember my better dreams. They were gone,
Exactly right.
right?
You're like, bye
But
bye.
both were me and true.
Mm-hmm.
Both were me and true. I think at the end of the day, it's choice. It's what are we trying to do?
Okay, but now, okay, so the thing is, like a lot of time you have people that be like, forget about the past, it's the new me. That I'm agreeing with you. It's like it's not about forgetting the past, it's about acknowledging the past, but appreciating that it is the past. It's still part of
Yes,
you,
yes.
but it's not you anymore, right? So I think on
It's not
this
you
we
anymore.
agree. And yeah,
Yes.
on this we agree. But like, say for example, right? And now I'm going to ask that question to you. Would you say you'd be able to ever go into a beta considering where you are now?
Fuck, man. In my marriage, I was pushed into it. That was an internal battle.
The betatization by 1,000
It
concession,
was
or
a million small cuts, yeah. Which I
Mhm.
never actually went deep into it, but that was like I said, man, the frame is there. You can go if you want to.
Hmm.
I would not go by choice.
Hey man, no, but the thing is, it's like
Yeah,
that's the biggest, like, and I think a lot of people underestimate this.
yeah,
But when you go, like, the thing is, it's like you think, no, yeah, you're gonna bang chicks and all this. He's all easy peasy, happy days, right?
yeah. It's not that happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, no, but first of all, right? Then you know, get into a relationship, manage that relationship, and if that girl is, on the top end of the range, good luck, especially
Yes,
for a long period of time.
yes.
This is Dark Souls mode. This is not.
Yes, yes, yes. Which is funny, man, because guys think that the funny thing is, I always talk about this because we have those instincts that we think that if we put them in action, we're going to be happy, right? So as a beta, I thought
Mm,
I just need to find a girl to love. Then everything is going to be magic. Good fucking luck as a beta having a good relationship. It's never going to
oof,
happen. It's never going to happen, right? Then you go into alpha or the lucky kids that are born there already. It's like, I'm going to be free, bang a bunch of girls, and I'm going to be happy. Well, good luck dealing with all the fucking drama of all those girls, right? Because that is Game of Thrones. Then I
yeah.
exit that in my break. It's like I already know how to handle woman. I'm gonna use all my skills just with one.
Hmm.
Good fucking luck.
Yeah, because sorry, go on.
No. It's like there's this fucking fantasy that there's something you can do just following the instincts, and then we think everything's gonna be fine. But then, even if you win, there's still more that is unexpected that you're gonna have to
Hmm.
grow and manage and I don't know, become wiser, stronger, whatever the fuck. But it's not just following the instinct. There is always something more that you have to learn after.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like, think about it this way, right? Like, you have technically, when you're not in a relationship, you have that freedom, you have that abundance. You can play the competition anxiety, you can play into the drama of the girl, you can kind of like, because, and on top of that, you're not living with her, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's happy days, right? So technically,
yeah,
you still have your leverage, but once you get into the
yes,
relationship, considering you're
yes,
monogamous, considering you're living with her, then it's like we put you two boulders on both feet
yes,
because you can't leave.
yes. Well, you
And
can, but
now,
you're praying that you can't. So now you have to make it work.
yeah,
But she's not
exactly
talking to
right.
you. Yes,
So that's why it's on hard mode. And then you're
yes,
like, how can I? Thing is, and it comes to the stage where, how can I keep that relationship, like,
yes,
without, because it's like, the thing is, you don't want to go into one end or the next, right? Because it's like, on the one end you'll have the guy saying, like, oh, just say yes to everyone, beta mode, right? And then you'll have the
yeah. But
complete
that is the
dread.
worst. Yeah, but that is
Yeah,
the worst.
yeah, no, and then you have the complete dread. You see what I'm saying? It's like the complete
Yes.
the spectrum is there, and
Yeah.
it's like no, it's not about always complete dread. No, it's not about doing this, right? But it's kind of like it's it's a bit like that guy that was walking between two buildings on a fine line.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. It's kind of like
Absolutely.
that.
No, you. I mean, you have. That's why I also talked so much about top frame, because you need to know when to punish and when to reward, and the response is never just doing something that so she feels good, because then you're fucked. You need to know when to move forward, even if she doesn't like it, and you need to be able to reward and punish, set boundaries, and it's actually is closer to the alpha shade of or the you need to know where you're going,
Hmm.
and if she's not going along with you, you have to be okay that she's gonna be left out by her own
Hmm.
problems, and let that not be your problem. And that detachment actually helps her follow you, which is not intuitive until you have done it.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yes,
and the thing is, it's the same thing as in seduction, right? If you're not willing to do those things that can break the rapport a bit, right? Or the not necessarily be completely like autistic and break everything, but more like kind of subcommunicate that if she continues, you're gonna be out. Not as a trick, but really as a byproduct of who you are, right? As a
yes,
top frame, whatever you say, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's the same thing in a relationship because technically that break, and that's for me, it's I call it the gap theory. It's like sometimes you have to
yes,
pull back in order for to create that gap and for her to come in. Sometimes she won't come
yes,
in. Sometimes it will come in. And
correct.
as you said, counterintuitively, what needs to happen is you by you making the move based upon also her behavior, because it's not like you're going to manufacture that just because you want to create unnecessary dread.
Yes,
You are telling her, I don't need you to follow me, but I'm going to lead and you can follow whether you want it or not.
correct. Yeah, if you're able to set some win-win, that if she follows, she wins with you, chances go really fucking high that she's actually going to follow. Not necessarily all the time, but chances increases. Versus if you do the fucking happy wife, happy life, that you're actually trying to make her happy, thinking that's going to be an umbrella of happiness in a relationship, that just guarantees that everything is going to go to shit immediately.
Because
Uh,
because then what happens is that you're technically subcommunicating your outcome dependence and your desperation to have her in the frame technically.
yes,
Just
yes,
for
yes.
jokes. But yeah. So when I hear this, it's kind of relatively close to what some of the red pill says, but I don't think you're kind of a red pill guy either, and I'm not either. But it's kind of I want to hear your stance or your point of view on the red pill side of things.
I mean, the red pill, I don't think red pill exists anymore. I think it's black pill. I don't know what the fuck happened, because I lost track of the community for like 10 years.
Hmm.
Back in when I started, the focus was on transformations.
Hmm.
Those folks, Mystery, Owen, Real Social Dynamics, everybody was trying to go natural.
Hmm.
And even Tyler from Real Social Dynamics was saying this. They had they booked the game, and then Mystery, they had the pickup lines, and they said that they worked for them, Project Hollywood, all the bullshit.
Hmm.
Then they started getting mainstream attention. Even Mystery got a VH1.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that. I saw the VH1 show. Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Then Tyler was panicking, saying, "We cannot. We're exposed, so we cannot keep doing game the way that we're doing this. So we're gonna have to go natural." And that's when I entered the red pill. So when I entered, this is 2008, 2009, when I took this like my new identity. Everything was, how do I become a natural? So when I entered the game, I was reading all the fucking techniques, but my process was, who do I need to be so all this bullshit is what I actually want to say? Because I didn't want to be memorizing, right? I didn't want to have, oh, she texted this. What is in the book? What should I be saying this? Right? Yeah, I didn't want to be buying guides of how to text and whatever. I wanted to be the guy that can come up with those lines. I wanted to transform myself.
Yeah.
Then I did it. It was, I'm not going to say that it was easier, but it took me less time than I thought it was going to take. Because like 6 months later, I was actually a kind of alpha type womanizer. Then I left. And when I started coming back to coach the guys, and then I came back now, and basically the only thing that I hear is complaining that women are promiscuous, complaining about hypergamy.
But by the way, there's for some reason half of the screen is
Yeah, it's my. Give me a sec. I need to
a
put the
noise.
camera. It's That's me and my twin.
You and your twin. Yeah, you didn't say that you had one.
But now I do.
All right, now I guess it's just about resetting it.
Yeah, we're setting the camera. No, so repealing more is stuck in basically you have the what I call the fake alphas in one side. That is make money, get bitches.
Yeah.
They're gonna go for a surprise if they think money's gonna solve the woman problem, because it's not gonna solve the woman problem. Then
Nope.
you have the incels. There are so many now. Back then it was only the men going their own way. The MG told no
Mm-hmm.
men go their own way.
No, MGTOW, yeah.
Exile. But now you have the incels that are like a big community now. Then in Red Pill, I have a lot of respect for Royo because he did a lot of good things back when I was starting, and his blog was really good. But he's saying like the same stuff now, and he's not. They say that he's not helping to turn the Red Pill less black. Everything is really fucking black. It's like enjoy the decline, make money, get bitches, or don't
And
have sex
how
at
would
all.
you and
Yeah.
yourself? How would you differentiate yourself from that? From a let's say from a leitmotiv or from an ideology perspective?
The only fucking point is finding a way to be happy and be able to express yourself in a way that is not self prostitution or self castration. And if you try that, the world's going to tell you that you can't,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have feminism where being a man is bad.
Yeah.
If you talk about your ambition, what you want to do in life, most people are going to try to bring you down. And la 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 la. But all that is just a fucking shit test, because if you do it, the moment that you do it, everybody's going to celebrate you, including the feminists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to give a fuck. You need to find a way to become strong. And that's what I'm trying to help guys do.
All
So
right. So
in that sense, I'm red pill, but 2009 red pill.
yeah, because it seems like there's been once the red pill gone mainstream, it seems that it's kind of
It's so
watered
negative.
down. Yeah, I mean, thing is, at the end of the day, I think it's more to do about the rewarding of the algo because it's easier to go into a
I think,
negative
yeah, I think you're right.
setup. No, I think so. People. And at one point it was just the interest of, let's say, the intellectual validity of the thing, whereas now there is an incentive of making money. So it's about shifting the ideology to such a way that it comes to validate the failures of others while making money on top of it. Is that
Yeah,
what your viewpoint is? Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's so negative. So in reality, it's bad feelings. It's like some pearls of wisdom, but phrased in ways that are gonna get you bad feelings. And then with those bad feelings, you can get mad and then hit the gym and get money so you can get bitches. I don't know what for, because bitches, if you're feeling bad, the bitches are gonna make you feel worse really fucking quick. Or you quit and you become an insult. It's like, no, I'm gonna become a really strong man and be happy and do my
Mhm.
own shit. That message is missing.
But it's quite interesting what you're talking about, the negativity, because for me, what I've noticed, right, like, and it's quite funny, I find that the negative
Yeah.
gets to get me motivated much more than the positive outcome.
Yeah.
And if you can manage that and push
Yes.
you, for example, you have something shit that happens to you and you want to fucking punch someone, but you go to the gym, right? It's like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
like then that's good, right? Not necessarily because you want to get massive for the girls, but more because you want to expel that shit. Like, I'll give you an
Yes.
example. Right? Saturday, I was supposed to see this girl, right? She flakes on me like 2 hours before. I was pissed off, right? I was like, you fucking
Yes.
cunt. Anyway, I was like, you fucking cunt. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going out. Actually, it was a guy from X. It's quite funny, right? I'm going out. And normally I don't do night game that much anymore, but I was so pissed off from the flake, and I pulled that knife straight up, and I was like, but the point is, it's quite funny that sometimes for some people I find that
Yes.
like there's how do you call it, loss aversion,
Yes.
or like how the prospect of loss is going to trigger someone to make a move much more than the positive aspect of an outcome.
Yes.
If you see what I'm saying.
No, that is 100% valid. If you get anger, you can direct the anger internally and you shrink, or externally and you grow. If you put the anger towards yourself, well, you become a fucking incel. You put the anger in motion to the outside, actually, your body's going to give you testosterone because you're going to go to a fight. No, when I say that the negative thing of the red pill, it's the problem would be when the negative feeling blocks the actual win.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, so say for example, you feel like shit, right?
Yes.
And even if you have something positive, you're still gonna look at it like it's shit.
No, it's when I say that it's going to block the real win. With example of fake alphas, for example, is really easy. They're angry about the world. They're angry about
Mm-hmm.
how they're men. Society's pushing down men, so they don't want to become weak. There are all the fucking reasons why to become angry. The anger is valid. The anger has to be put in motion. So all of that is correct. You can be mad about how fucking stupid the world is. When the negative feelings blocking the solution is they think the fix is to improve themselves as men, and then everything is going to work out. And that is not the truth. Does that
Okay,
make sense? So
that
the
makes sense.
problems
Yeah.
they're facing in the now, they are going to be able to achieve what they are pursuing, but what they're pursuing is not the solution. So that's where the negative emotion is masking the actual win. Because you take any guy, me for example, whoever, more gym, more muscles, more hours put in the business. You make a shitload of money. Those things are gonna be true. You're gonna be better looking. You're gonna have a better bank account. You are gonna have more attractive women hitting on you. Your life is gonna get more complicated because that was not the fix for the pain you were feeling. So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have surface success, but all your problems are still gonna be there.
Because technically, you're just kind of like the hamster in the wheel that has not attributed the right
Correct.
solution to the problem, to the
Correct.
problems. No, that's it's quite funny
Correct.
because I had a back and forth with Rivelino, right, saying because upon hobbies, right, and I was saying like hobbies should not be are your hobbies, whether they're sexy or not doesn't really matter because you address what you like. And he
Yes.
was like, yeah, but they have to be sexy hobby. It helps you to become a good person. And then the way he was phrasing it originally was like very much of a covert contract to get girls to like you. And I'm just like,
Yes.
no, this is completely wrong in the sense
It's
that
chameleon.
exactly right, and it's completely wrong because at the end of the day, say for example, you get better, you get more muscle, you lose fat, or whatever you do, right, and you're not meeting any girls or you're not doing anything then you'll feel frustrated and you feel that you have not grown when you have grown, and that's the
Yes.
real win that you're talking about. If I'm just
Yes.
using that example, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying now. No, no, so yeah, and also another thing, it's like think about it this way as well. Like for me, when I look at the red pill, and don't get me wrong, like I think there's some good stuff in the red pill. I think there's some good stuff in game. I think there's good stuff in some masculinity account and everything. But it's more about. Sorry, let me just get my thoughts in order. It's more about what do you want?
There
What
you
do you
go.
want as a
Yes.
what
Yes.
do you want as and it's like if you look at what the red pill says, oh, like get status, get money, become good at game, etc., etc. What actually you're doing is not only outside of co-opting the hypergamy that you criticize,
Yes.
are
Which is really
also
funny.
yeah, no, no, no,
That is
right,
so
right.
funny. Yes. It's like women only care about money. I'm gonna get a Lamborghini. Right?
I mean,
What the
that's
fuck are you
just
doing? Do you like her or not? Because if you accept that and you're going to get the fucking money, stop fucking complaining because that's the game you're playing.
exactly right. So it's like either
Yes.
basically you're lying and you be like, hey, women are like that, and I'll just do that because it gets to my benefit, right, and to
Yes.
women's benefit, or so like, and then even if you do get that right, and you go back to
Yes.
what you're saying about the fake alpha with the money, but ain't got no fucking backbone. It's like, yeah, then women will use you for what
Yes.
you can provide them,
Yes.
and then they'll discard you. So
Yes. So
technically, you're getting fucked.
you go from you're getting fucked. You go from looking at the woman from a distance, thinking they're angels, to
Yeah.
having those women in your life, ruining your life, and being super cruel. It's like it's worse.
And on top of that, it's not like you
Yes.
didn't know that yourself, but because you were so
Yes.
desperate to have those women that you
Correct.
did all those stuff.
Correct. Correct. So you work for 10 years to buy a Lamborghini to be abused. It's perfect. You paid
Well,
a shitload
remember,
of money for the treatment. It's fantastic.
do you remember what you were talking about, the slave carrying the guy in the South African picture?
Yes.
Well, technically, you can be having the money, you can be having all of that stuff, but still be that slave because
Yes.
technically you've not grown and you've not actually looked at what is
Yes.
exactly you want.
Correct. Yeah, and they do it voluntarily because they think they need to pay with the Lamborghini or the status just to get some affection. They're not going to get the affection. It is a trap. And at the end, what you pay for doesn't have value. Does that make sense? If you have to pay for it,
Because
it doesn't have value. You don't want it.
yeah, because yeah, go on. Sorry, I don't want to cut
No,
you
no.
off.
If I get a girl because I have a Lamborghini, she can go fuck herself. She's not welcome in my car.
Exactly. It's like the thing
Yeah,
is, what
fuck that.
at the end of the day, you're technically paying by an indirect way, right? Rather than paying
Yes,
in a hooker where when you know it's all about that. It's like, like I don't know, like for me, like if I like look, let's say I become a multimillionaire, right?
yes.
I'll get a Lambo, not to get the girls, but to troll the girls I didn't get. See, that's different.
That's funny. Yeah, you put it on Instagram. You tag them all. Ta 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 ta. Ta. Fuck you.
Exactly. I don't give a fuck. Hey, look, I do like my trolls, but no, but that's it. Like, what the thing is, because even that's something also that's part of game, and maybe you will tell it's top guy stuff or whatever or bottom guy stuff. Whenever you deal with a woman, right, whether you're brokey ass motherfucker or whether you're top guy motherfucker, she doesn't want to feel that you're seeking her approval,
Yeah, never. But it
no
gets
matter
worse
how. Yeah,
if you're high status and you have resources. It's even worse
yeah,
because
because the expectations.
there's more contrast. Yes,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
more powerful status you have, the more you're expected to actually be the fucking man. So if your status increases, but internally you're still a fucking beta bottom frame, that contrast is gonna maximize the abuse compared that if you're working in McDonald's.
Exactly.
It's
But
yes, it's
and
worse.
on top of it's almost like the guy working at McDonald's, even though he smells of fries, has got nothing to lose because he knows he's
Yes,
kind of like not even he doesn't
yes,
qualify, so he's like, who
yes,
cares?
yes. That's crazy. Good example of that. Have you seen Jason Momoa?
Yeah, I've seen. I know. I mean, to Carl Drogo, right?
Yeah, yes, Carl Drogo, perfect. Have you seen the wife?
No,
She's like 20 years older. She's like a grandma.
interesting.
There is not a single man that is not gonna feel disappointed of Jason Momoa for being with that woman. And it's the expectation. Famous, good looking, super fucking muscular, Drogo, Game of Thrones. The expectation is he's gonna have the most beautiful, feminine girl in the world because you want to look up to him. Then you see who he's with, and all the status that he has actually works in his favor. It's just fucking contempt.
But think about it this way as well. Like I think Pierce Brosnan as someone like that. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
what's his name, the guy doing John Wick, Kenny Reeves as someone like that. I think as well Aaron Taylor Johnson has got someone like that.
I don't know what's happening in Hollywood. Yes.
But it's kind of like the guy that actually is going to be on the movie 28 years later. But I'm trying to think of like
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy. Yeah, what about no? But that was 28 days later. There's
Oh,
28
there's a new.
years
Okay.
later. There's 28 years later coming in, like I think next month, and it's the main actor in there. And
Okay.
his girlfriend slash wife. I think he even have kids with her. I mean, you have Macron of all people, our
Well,
president, French president.
that cannot have kids, but yeah.
Oh, who knows? Maybe like there are some rumors he's on the other side, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's yes.
So no, but I mean, I know we don't have that much time, but I don't think that there's that much disagreement outside of where we're coming on the frame side of
No, man,
things
it's just
with.
fucking language. But that is a it's not a problem, but that's something we're always gonna run into because there are not that many of us thinking about this thing, right? So you're gonna
Yeah.
develop your own. I mean, of course, you're gonna have your own point of view, but you start talking about things in your own way, so you have your own terminology. And I'm gonna do the same. Have you talked to this guy, Angel of Vengeance?
I mean, we exchange sometimes. Sometimes we have some disagreement on stuff, but I mean, I've already what's his name? I already give him a shout out because I think from the technical side of game, he's like top level,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. He's
But
really good.
obviously on yeah exactly. But the thing is on other things, which is kind of like more meta, more macro, we have our disagreements. But it's always
Okay, that's
very
gonna happen.
always.
Yeah, but he talks about he doesn't actually mention top frame bottom frame, but he has kind of like the same with different words. He talks about judgment and authority that will be top frame judgment, and then he talks about burden that will be the bottom frame. Because we're looking at the same thing, and if you're a
Mhm.
smart person, you're gonna reach more or less the same understand it because we're trying to look at the same reality. But it's not that it's not that we're creating fantasy. So what I'm saying is we're gonna be overlapping with same points and topics with really different words and angles. Because what else?
Yeah, no, no, of course. The thing is, I think, like for example, I think that a lot of the stuff that you put top game as top guys, like it's kind of more like game on his side, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas with me, I'm more on the other side where I really segment it differently, and you're kind of like midway to it, but
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like
midway. Yes.
yeah, midway to it. So, but at the end of the day, to me, it's all about can can there be just like some type of compact book, that encompass all of those realities? Because there's also another factor, which is the world evolves. Game 2010 versus game 2020 versus game 2000 is not the same. It's dynamic. So it's like, even if you look at, for example, you were talking about RSD, and actually that's my question. Actually, I've got for you, right? Who were your biggest influence in game?
It was fuck. Intellectually it was Owen with the blueprint. I think this
Mm-hmm.
was 2008. It was really fucking complex. It was really fucking complex, but basically it was talking about frame and frame control. The guy that actually had the most influence on me, it doesn't exist anymore. It was called Lance from,
Mm-hmm.
he had a body language course called, his company was Pickup 001, and he had several courses in body language.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not expected. What I took the most from Lance, he was focusing on body language and how to be social without having to speak. So how to communicate with people with the body. But funny enough, this is what influenced me the most. He said, if you want to, Kino 001 was the course.
Mm-hmm.
He said something like, if you, girls like to be touched, but you cannot be in a social situation and just touch the girl because then you're a creep. So the way to get away, this is how he phrased it. The way to get away with touching the girl, you need to touch everybody. Does that make sense?
I mean, for me, it makes sense because I tend to have hands going everywhere.
Right.
So,
Correct. So if you're the guy, you need to be you need to become a touchy guy. Then you touch the girl, and when you touch the girl, even though you're not doing anything special with her, then she's gonna like to be touched. But I took that to game in general. That's actually when I read that. That was a DVD that I got from him. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be doing game bullshit for the girls. I need to be doing this for everybody, because otherwise I'm like a quiet person that is shy. But with this one girl, I'm charismatic. I have games. I do necks. I do push pulls. I do. So I need to be doing that with everybody. The only way to do this with everybody, I need to become the person that is like this.
and you were not like that to begin with.
Man, I was a shy beta, romantic, hyper intellectual, incel, Disney prince wannabe, whatever the fuck. The white knight that is always trying to save the girl. That was me. I was perfect. I would have
Hey,
all the
look,
fucking
man,
girls crying on my shoulder, telling me how bad the jerks they were. I was like, but I'll be better to you. I'll be
fuck
different.
off.
You're really funny, man. Yeah.
But you know something? I'll tell you. Like, you look back at some of your time back in the days, right? And you're like, you have a laugh. You just think I was very dumb
Yeah,
back
it's
then.
fun. It's funny. Yeah, yeah, it's really fun.
And that's the thing where that's what I say to guys, right? I say, look, try shit out, and if you get a blowout, doesn't fucking matter, because they'll be looking at it and they'll be like, oh my god, I am feeling so bad about myself because I put myself in that situation. But you won't learn. It's like, if it gets to a blowout, I say it makes a great story for you to talk to your future grandchildren or your future kids, like, or even to talk about it with your friend, because you're just like, you know what, I
No,
tried
it's
it.
and a worst case scenario, like in my case, at least you get a contrast and experience. Now you know what not
Yeah,
to do. And then in the future you can look back and
exactly.
say, I understand why nothing worked. I had the wrong framework. Then you see other people struggling and uh more or less what they're going through and what they would have to do to get out of it, which is my hobby.
So, but just to close on this pod. So you do have a coaching stuff. Like, what do you do exactly?
No, no, no.
No, you just help on Twitter.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, of course, some guys get in my DMs and,
Hmm.
I tell them shit. Some of them actually put in practice what I tell them, which is really good because then I see them change in a real time.
Hmm.
That's really good. When I was married, I had a Discord with a friend, and
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, somebody would contact me because they saw me my post on Nash blog. So, hey
Mm-hmm.
man, do you do coaching? So they would end up in the Discord, and I was talking to them there. When I had
Mm-hmm.
time, it's just fun for me. And now I'm doing that on Twitter. But no, I'm not a professional coach.
No, no, it's fine. No.
Not a
Yeah,
practice. Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's not so much about your title; it's about your influence on people. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's
yeah.
like if you can help people out. Like the thing is that I help people out, you help people out. It feels good, right? Because it's like all our mistakes outside of our own personal benefit that we get, we actually expand that and 10x our mistake, the returns of the mistakes we make.
Yes, but also you learn more. You're also learning more when you're trying to explain things to
Yes,
other people. They come with problems that you didn't face, right?
or sometimes it's like if I look at the amount of stuff I write, a lot of times it's inspired by either my stuff or stuff that I see that my
Yes.
clients or people that I help are
Yeah.
faced with. And
Yes.
also what I love, and maybe that's something you do or you have, is for me, I love to really map out everything kind of
Yes.
thing so that everything is kind of like well
More understanding. Yes. It turns
organized in
into a
my
machine.
head.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yes.
So yeah, no. So anyway, man, like any closing thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, no closing thoughts, but really, really good. I found you on Twitter as soon as I joined back. I joined back in December, and your account was one of the few that was recommended. Yours, Angelo Vengeance, and who else? Not that many, man. There are not that many smart people talking about this on Twitter. You're one of them, so thanks.
Well, thank
Thanks
you.
for
Well, the
sharing
thing
your
is,
stuff. Yeah.
for me, and thanks for joining the podcast because that approach, what you're having, is something kind of like no other people have. And when you create new stuff, generally, obviously, sometimes it's just different terminology. It helps me looking at potential blind spot that I didn't have, or at
Yes.
least
Yeah. For me
entertain.
too. Yeah.
And I'm really glad because I know that Angel rates you. So if he rates you, that means that kind of like you should be you should you should be respected. Anyway, again, thanks for joining the podcast and being very candid in the process.
Yeah. It's the only way.
And I'm really glad to have learned more a little bit about you that we talked offline. Anyway, guys, I'm closing this pod just so that you know as well. 007 as is a community that he created that is going to be on the description below. And I'm joining his community as a coach as well. So if you want to have more information, you can click on the link below. And on this, guys, I wish you a good day. And there are few more interviews to come, and I'll have 007 very soon. So bye bye.